One of the nice things about being retired is that you don't have a schedule. There's no place you have to be at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's no reason to stay anywhere that you don't want to be at any time. But being as how that's how I lived my life for the better part of 67 years, it seems to me that I've considered this to be my job since about 3 years ago. And I love this job. But I have to point out that I love my wife more, and I'll explain in just a second. Here's what we're talking about today. So, first of all, I do love my wife very much. And as a result, I always try to do things that please her. And one of the things that she really enjoys, I think, is the whole cruising experience. But we've done several cruises this year already, and I didn't anticipate doing any further cruising because the holidays were coming up. So my wife came to me over the weekend and said, I've got some good news. And I said, okay, what? We are not going to have Thanksgiving dinner here. I said, okay, I'm glad I don't have to cook. So I asked, are we going to your daughter's house? No. Are we going to the Cracker Barrel? No. Are we going to the Marriott and have the big buffet? No, we're not doing that either. I'm like, well, where are we going? She said, we're going to Atlanta. I said, oh, great. Lots of good restaurants in Atlanta. Where are we going to go in Atlanta? She said, the airport. I said, the airport? Why? And she said, because we have to go to the airport in order to get on the plane. I said, what? And she said, yes, we're gonna take a cruise on Virgin Voyages. And I said, Virgin Voyages? The cruise line that's like the super duper luxury cruise line? She said, yeah, yeah, that's right. That's what we're going to do. And of course, I immediately had thoughts of, my bank balance going to zero in a matter of seconds. But as it turns out, my wife really does have a black belt in shopping. We have always used a provider by the name of Vacations to Go when we go for our cruising. And that's not an endorsement, although I would endorse them. It's not a paid thing. I'm just saying that's a great place to go if you like to do travel. She had found on Vacations to Go this 9-night cruise from Miami down to Grand Turk and several of the other islands in the Caribbean for with a balcony cabin for $800 each. And she jumped on that like a chicken on a June bug. And as a result, she booked it and she got the flights. And so on Thursday, Thanksgiving, instead of making content, I'll be driving to Atlanta and getting on an airplane and flying to Miami. And then on Friday, I'm getting on a boat and going to take a cruise. Now, I realize that Brian Walsh's trial is coming up pretty closely thereafter the next Monday or Tuesday, whenever it is. And I had indicated I was going to do that. So I bought the premium Wi Fi package on Virgin, hoping that it is better than the premium Wi Fi package that I bought on Celebrity, which wasn't really premium Wi Fi at all. And I am going to try to make videos while I am out on the ocean. Instead of taking my iPad that is set up for that, I'm actually taking my MacBook. And as a result, I should have better luck on making videos by virtue of having the big computer. But at any rate, I'm going to take the cruise because I love my wife. My wife wanted to go. Uh, as some of you probably picked up if you read the post, we lost our little dog Ellie on Friday, and she had injured her back last year. We took her to the vet. The vet said, "Well, she's still got some feeling. She'll be okay." And over the course of the last year, she has just lost the ability to do many of the things that you would want her to be able to do. It had gotten to the point where I had to hold her up with the lead in order for her to empty her bowels, and that that just seemed cruel. And she'd worn off some of the fur on her legs, and it was just time. It was very, very hard because I love that dog like a child, and so did Ginger. We both loved that dog. So it was a hard day, and as a result of that, I think she was just trying to make herself happier, and she found this cruise, and by golly, we booked it, and so we're gonna not gonna be around. I'll be back on December 8th, and like I said, if at all possible, while I'm out there on the ocean, I will be making content and posting it. It won't be cruise content, it will be legal content, of course. I'm going to try to set up a few legal things to run in the interim, but I don't know how well that's going to work given the extremely short timeline. But I would point out one interesting thing which you may find helpful, you may not. You may not have any interest whatsoever in ever going cruising. But if you have the ability to go and you're not tied to a job, you don't have to ask for permission to take time off, something like that. If you're free to get up and go anytime you want to, places like Vacations to Go, and I'm sure many other travel agencies have these last minute deals. And the last minute deal is you only book it a week before the cruise leaves. You have to pay the full fare right then, but the fare is usually drastically reduced. And if you go and look at what a 9-day cruise is on Virgin Voyages, and then you look at what we paid for a balcony cabin, you'll know we got a deep discount at about 85% of the rack rate. So, like I said, my wife has a black belt in shopping. And she's convinced me to go do an art class. So that'll be fun. Normally we go look for for cooking classes. I think she's trying to tell me something. But at any rate, we usually go to cooking classes. I'm not going to do that this time. We're going to go to a painting class on the beach. So that'll be fun. But I apologize. I had intended to do the Brian Walsh trial, kind of gavel to gavel and watch it every day, but I'm probably not going to have as much content as I would normally have. Hope you'll forgive me, and hope you'll continue to keep watching. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here today. If you have the opportunity today, try to do one kind thing to help somebody else. Any kind thing will do. Buy somebody a Coke, get them a cup of coffee, anything that makes their day better. That would be a way to help make the world a better place. Because after all, isn't that what we're all after? Now, YouTube has a few things that they think you might be interested in, and they're going to be showing you that right up there.